Now, KEZI 9 Sports from the Three Rivers Casino Resort Sports Desk.
It was one of the most painful experiences any Oregon Duck on the field had ever suffered. A 36-33 loss in Seattle in 2023 that essentially cost the Ducks a chance to get into the college football playoffs with how the season ended. Now, 2 years later, the Ducks are hoping to avoid that same fate. In our coverage sponsored by Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center, Sports Director Brett Taylor joins us from Seattle to explain how that loss 2 years ago is fueling this year's team.
Madison, you remember watching The Lion King as a little kid, and Rafiki said, it doesn't matter, it's in the past. Well, sometimes that's the case. The past is just the past. But when it comes to the impacts of that 2023 loss for Oregon football up here in Seattle 2 years ago, it's a moment that some of these players here still on this roster will never forget, including Oregon center Charlie Pickard, who was just a sophomore back with the program when he watched the Washington fans storm the field here at Husky Stadium in victory. Now, earlier this week, I asked the now senior what he remembers the most from that game. He told me it was everything that came after the final whistle, the pain of that loss, calling it one of the worst feelings he's ever had in his career. So now, 2 years later, the Veterans Center is hoping to impart some of the knowledge that he's gained in the hopes that this group doesn't have to experience the same feelings he had to in 2023.
I'll say the one thing I remember most from that game is everybody rushing on the field once the whistle blew. So I've been trying to tell everybody about that, what that means, what that feeling's like. Not a great feeling at all. One of the worst feelings I've ever had in my career, you know. And I'm just trying to reiterate that to some of these guys, some of these young guys here, you know, who've had so much success and haven't been able to experience, a loss like that before.
Now, thankfully, this group of Huskies is not the same as they were in 2023. But even with that being said, getting a win here on Saturday will be a whole lot easier said than done. Because if you weren't already aware, Husky Stadium has been one of the hardest places to win in. Since the 2022 season, Washington is 24-1 here at home. They don't lose, and they don't lose often. Their only loss coming in that time earlier this season to number 1 Ohio State. Reporting in Seattle in our coverage sponsored by Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center, I'm Brett Taylor.